Now that we've modeled every single piece of this blade, it's time for us to start doing the surface detail. So let's go ahead and start on a blade first. So hold Alt and click on it. Make sure you have it selected. Go to Geometry and add another subdivision to it. Let's go to subdivision 8 for this. So with that, let's go and use our standard brush and hold Shift to smooth. And we're going to smooth out every single edge of this blade. Just make sure it has a nice fall off. We could solo this too, so we get the inside. So this is really important that you're smoothing off these edges, because when you bake, you might get those artifacts in the normal map. And to avoid that, we just need to smooth these out real quick. Okay, once that's done, let's go ahead and add a new material to this. So in your material shader, we're going to choose metal 01, and we'll do like a 50% gray. And then to apply that color and material, we're going to choose mRGB. Go to your color palette. Let's dock that to the left side, and we're going to fill object. So now when you change this material, that's always going to be metal. So the blade's always going to be metal and the color that you chose. So that's how you apply a color and material to a subtool. And we can do this too also. So if you want this to be metal also, choose metal, and then we're going to do a lighter value and add that to that. So click on the base blade. Let's make this darker so it has a contrast. There you go. So if you go back to your basic material, you'll notice that every single subtool that we have in touch will be affected based on the material you choose, and the ones you've applied material to and color will stay the same. Alright, so now we've added material and color to it. Let's go and add a layer, and we'll call this dents. And then we're gonna add a morph target to it. So go to morph target and store morph target. So once you're done with that, we're gonna go to surface, go to noise, and we're gonna use the noise plugin. And we're gonna choose dents. Press OK. Let's go ahead and frame this icon, this thumbnail. Zoom in on this real quick. What we're going to do is remove mix basic noise. So set that to 0. And then under plugin scale, let's scale that down to somewhere around 0.04. And then we're going to go to negative strength on this. So negative 0.03. Hit apply. See how's that looking. And if you like what you see, go ahead and apply it. Okay, and once you're happy with that, we're going to go to our brush palette, and we're going to choose morph target, morph brush. So with our morph brush selected, we're going to add an alpha to it. So we're going to use alpha 8. And then for stroke, we could just leave it to dots. That's fine. What we're going to do is we're going to remove some of this dent from the blade. So we don't want any of these imperfections on the blade end. So we're actually going to just sculpt that out and removing some of that. And what we want is to keep the dents on the contact points of another subtool. So for this, we want to remove, let's go back to our metal. Okay, and we're going to remove some of this on the sharp end of the blade. You can make your draw size bigger so it's easier for you. and just remove some of that. And we're going to do this 2 more times, this procedure of adding a surface detail to it. So this is the first layer. And we're just removing some of this on the blade edge, because we want that to be more pristine than the ones close to the corners. Okay, just removing some of this. So like this, we just want the outer edge. So these, we want that to stay, and everything else removed. Okay, just doing a little bit more. Make sure you have symmetry on, so you do the other side as well. Okay, we could probably remove this and choose a different alpha, maybe 24. Okay, that's much better. And I'm just scaling my brush size when there's a big surface to remove. Okay, because we don't want this to be heavy-handed on the surface detail. We want it to have just a little bit, so it's not pristine all around. So that's looking pretty good. Let's see from the top. Okay, it's hard to see, but we just need that light to catch so we can see it. All right, so once you're happy with that, we're gonna do the same procedure. We're gonna go to layers, add a new layer, and then we'll call this erosion. And then go to your morph target, delete morph target, and store morph target. Go to surface, and then noise. Then we're gonna edit this. So go to edit, and we're gonna choose erosion this time. Press OK, and then we're gonna scale this up and increase the size. So we're gonna do 0.002. We could type that in, 0.002. See how that looks. For the scale, we want something like around 0.05. Press OK and see how that looks. And when we hit apply, and we could always just undo it if you don't like it. Okay, so that might be a little too much, a little too strong. So I hit undo and go back to edit. And we're gonna do 0.01. Okay, we could probably remove the color blend so we can see exactly what's going on without color. Okay, that's much better. So once you like that setting, we can go ahead and apply to mesh. So you have that subtle breakup. And then you could still clean this up. And we'll go back to our alpha 08 while using the morph brush. So make that brush bigger. So what we're doing is really adding variation to this surface of the blade. We don't want this to be super clean and pristine. I know some blades are like that, but for this project, we want it to have some sort of aging to it. So it's not like brand new or something. Okay. We can remove some of this here. This might be too much. Then make sure you get the ones on top too. All right, and then finally we'll do the same thing again, and we're gonna do another layer. We'll call this FMB. Go to morph target, delete morph target, store morph target, surface, go to noise, then edit your noise. noise plugin edit, and then we're going to choose FMB this time. So for this one, we're going to add sort of like a raised procedure. So let's fix the strength real quick, see how's that going. So we're adding bumps, so we're going to do 0.01. And in the plugin, we can do like 0.05. Press OK. Apply to mesh. And then remove some of that. Okay, and then we're just going to remove some of that. We can go back to our alpha. Which one did we use earlier? Alpha 24. Just go back and remove some of this. Okay. Once again, when I'm doing this procedure, when I'm doing morph target, I'm doing it mirrored. So go to, where is it? Stroke. I'm sorry, transform. And I have that symmetry to Z axis on. Okay, make this brush bigger so we get a wider range. So we're not completely deleting every single one of these, so we're leaving some. Okay. Next we're going to do the trim, pretty much the same procedure, and then we'll move on to the whole model. For the trim on display, we're going to do the same procedure. So let's go ahead and subdivide this one more time. And then we're going to smooth this out. So go ahead and go in solo and then smooth this out by holding shift and just doing a brush stroke on it all the way out. Okay. Next we're going to add a layer. Add a layer and call that dents or erosion. Go to morph target, store morph target, and then surface. And we're going to use the erosion. Let's scale this down. Let's frame this real quick and zoom in on it so we can see what's going on. Scale that down to 0.01. Remove the mix basic noise. And then what we're going to do is go to 0.01 on strength. And let's press OK. Okay, once you like what you see, go ahead and apply that. And we're going to do the same thing as we're going to choose our morph brush. And we'll use alpha 08. And we're just going to remove some of that. So let's go ahead and unhide everything else. And we're just going to remove some of this. So it's just peppered in. Not every single surface has those crazy bumps on it, this crazy surface detail. So removing some of that. I like how the edge has it, so we're going to keep some of it on the edge. And removing majority of it on the larger surface areas. So like this. Okay, we can increase our brush size. Just do that procedure real quick. Okay. And once you're happy with that, we're gonna do a, let's see, standard brush and color spray for stroke, and in alpha we're gonna choose alpha 40. Let's scale our brush to like 9, and we're just gonna go to negative to Z sub and lower the intensity to 6. See how that looks. Let's do 6 on the brush size. There we go. I'm just gonna add some of those little dent holes back manually. Okay. And then we're actually going to add them to this main blade also. Okay, just pepper it in to give it some variation. Okay, we'll go back to our trim. Go to your morph brush and then delete some more of these. Some of them are pretty heavy-handed, so what I'm doing is, instead of doing stroke, I'm just tapping on my tablet, just removing it manually. Cool, so that's done. What we're gonna do is, let's go to Z plugin, mirror, and we're gonna append this one because we don't want this to merge because it'll be too heavy for our file. So append and then Z axis. It's telling me that it has a layer recording. So we're gonna go ahead and turn that off real quick. So I just right clicked on it. So it's turned into an eyeball, and then go back to your Z plugin, mirror, append, let it do its thing. Okay, now it's on the other side. Okay, we just turn this back on. So next we're going to do the plate and then the guard area. For this metal plate, we're going to add extra detail to this that's not on the concept, and we're going to add rivets to the border. So first, let's go ahead and add a color and material. So we're going to choose the blade color. So we're going to click on that and then choose the metal 01. And then under color, go fill object. Next, we're going to add a layer, and we're going to call this rivets. And then a morph target. Next, we're going to go to our brush, and then with using standard, we're going to choose alpha 06. Make sure your intensity is on 50. And then under stroke, let's put that on the side. We're going to turn on our lazy mouse, lazy step to 1.5, lazy snap to 1, and then let's see how that looks. Okay, that looks pretty good. What we're going to do is use our transparent opacity, and then we're just going to draw that rivets in the border. Just going to follow that curve along. You could always undo it if it's not to your liking. And then finally to the end. That looks pretty good. And if the stroke missed some, like this right here, we can just go ahead and use drag dot, turn off our lazy mouse, and then just add one to it. Probably lower the brush size. Okay, just like that. Since we have this on a layer, we could turn on the intensity a little bit higher. So now I'm 1.3. Let's do 1.5. Let's see how that looks. Okay, much better. And we're gonna do the same procedure on the guard piece and also the metal parts on the back. So choose your guard piece. Go ahead and isolate that. Make sure you don't have any mask on it. So if you do, hold Control and drag out. And then we're gonna add a subdivision level of 7 and then smooth out the edge. And once you've done that, let's go ahead and change the color on this and the material, since we haven't applied it yet. And we're gonna choose the plate value, and then make sure you have metal 01 on. Go to your color palette and fill object. Make sure you have mRGB on as well. Let's go ahead and do that to the other parts too, since we have that color. Okay, and then let's do it for this one also. into this small piece. Let's see what else right here. And we'll just leave it like that for now. Okay, go back to the guard. All right. And let's check our brush size, see how it's working out. So that's a little too big. Let's go to draw size 2. That's much better. We'll go to our layers and then add a new layer and call it rivets. That didn't type, rivets. There we go. Let's just store a morph target just in case. And then let's just go ahead and draw that out again. So starting from here, we're going to go around and all the way up there. Okay. So we're going to leave a gap in the middle. And we're just going to draw this out. You can let go and just turn the canvas and continue where you left off. Just draw it out. Okay, stop and then rotate the canvas. Just continue on. And then stop right there. We want to leave a gap in the middle because we're going to do a cut on this. And then with that, we're going to go ahead and give it intensity of 1.5. And then we'll move on to this one. So the same procedure. We're already in subdivision 7. And we're going to add a layer to it. Okay. Rivets. Then morph target. And go ahead and draw this out. Okay, that's better. Here we go. Just draw that out. So it starts to stretch when you don't have the canvas in the right angle. So let's just undo that and do it again. Then rotate. Just continue on the path. Rotate that and then connect. That's much better. Go back to your layer, do 1.5. Okay. And then the last one, this part right here. So make sure this is in subdivision 7. Add a layer, name it rivet or rivets, and then go to morph target. Let's do the same thing. I'm going to draw this out. Turn your canvas, then continue. Okay. Go to your layer, do 1.5. Now let's go back to our plate and add surface detail on it. So first things first, we need to merge every single one of these small subtools. So let's choose this one. Go to your subtool palette, hold shift and click on an eyeball, and that should hide everything. And what we can do is double click on every single one of the subtools we want visible and merged. I believe we have the diamonds also. So I believe maybe this one, this, and then this. Okay. So make sure you got your diamonds. And then we're going to go to Z plugin, merge and delete extra subtools. Okay, so once that's done, we're going to add a color to it. And it will still have the subdivisions also on that. So hold shift and click on an eyeball twice, and that should bring up every single one of the subtools hidden. What we can do is add a value to it, and the material we still want to be metal. Let's do around like 40% gray, and then for this base, let's do like a darker tone to it, so it has contrast. Okay, and then for these gems, we can use the jelly bean material and then add that there. So make sure you have your mRGB on, or else it won't apply the material or value to it. So let's go back to this and make sure mRGB is on. Same thing, add that there. So that's that. All right, so let's go ahead and start adding the surface detail. So click on that plate base. Okay, and then we're going to create a new layer. We'll name this dense. Go to your morph target, delete morph target, and store morph target afterwards. Then go to your surface, noise plugin, and we're going to choose dense. Let's frame this real quick, see what's going on. We can increase the strength and lower the plugin scale. Let's remove this. Let's go to strength -0.4 or -0.5, 0.05 I mean. Go ahead, apply to mesh. So we got those dents now. What we can do is do the same procedure, go to your morph target and start removing some of that. Okay, make sure you have your symmetry on so you're doing both sides. And we're just removing some of that so it's not consistent throughout the surface. Okay, make sure you get those the inside too. All right. So once you're done with that, let's go ahead and do another layer. We'll call this erosion. So go to your name, erosion, and then delete your morph target and then store a new morph target. Go to surface, edit, noise plug, edit. We're going to do erosion. And then let's remove that strength real quick and put it to 0.01. Scale that up to let's do 0.2. And let's hit apply. So that's a little too much. So we're going to go ahead and undo and reduce this strength real quick. Let's do 0.002. I think that was different. Okay, there you go. So now you have that small amount of variation. Okay, and then we're going to do the same procedure for this piece right here. So go ahead and make sure you're in subdivision. Let's do 3 because I think 4 is too much. So subdivision 3, go to your layer, add a new layer, just call that erosion. Morph target, store 1, go to your surface and do the same thing again. Noise plug, erosion, and I think it was 0.02, and then the scale was around 0.1. Okay, let's see how that looks. Okay, that's pretty good.